TWICE have broken quite an impressive record. According to a recent JYP Entertainment report, since their debut in 2015, they have sold over 20 million albums across Korea and Japan. Out of all these albums, more than 14 million copies were sold in Korea, while more than 5 million were sold in Japan. Considering that they have had constant releases in the 9 years that they have been active, with 2 members debuting as soloists, this is an incredible achievement for them, so congratulations to the girls. Hyunsuk from Treasure alarmed fans with what seemed like an injury sustained during his stage performance. If you don't know, Treasure performed in Bangkok as part of their Reboot World Tour. However, during their concert, member Hyunsuk was obviously feeling off. It came to a point where he was seen frequently leaning against the stage setup, not to mention, during a song where the members typically move freely around the stage, he couldn't keep up with the rest and stayed on the main stage, clutching onto objects to steady himself. At some point, he just sat on the ground and performed sitting down. It got even more concerning when members would go to him and check if he was doing okay, as they were evidently worried about his well-being. Once the song finished, a staff member helped him to the edge of the stage, where another staff member carried him on their back. Fans who were present noticed that he appeared to have injured his leg, which made it difficult for him to move on stage. He was also seen tending to his leg from time to time. Hyunsuk still came back for the group picture at the end of the concert, but fans and the audience were hoping that the company would let him recover properly before giving him anything to do. We wish him a speedy recovery as well. Looking at recent circumstances, it doesn't seem like Seunghan is coming back to Rise, and fans are asking SM to clarify the situation once again. Ever since he went on hiatus in November of 2023, fans have been continuously wondering when SM would let him join the rest of the members. There have been mixed signals from the company as well, which has made the fans feel even more than confused about what was going on. While SM has yet to officially address the situation, rumors surfaced in April suggesting that Seunghan may be leaving the K-pop industry altogether and will enroll in university. Then, the rumors about his future only intensified when a photo surfaced online showing a student, believed to be Seunghan, carrying a heavy backpack, possibly filled with textbooks. This has fueled the belief that Seunghan might have enrolled in a cram school to prepare for college entrance exams and left his short time as an idol behind. It's not unusual for K-pop idols to attend a university alongside their music career, but since this is basically the only update we have gotten from Seunghan, it has made some people think that maybe he has decided to shift his focus to his education rather than his career. Even though Korean netizens wanted him to be out of the group, they don't seem too happy about the fact that he's living his life normally during the hiatus either. A commenter on an online forum said, "Is it for real that he's being supported by people wishing him to live well? He took a picture kissing a girl in a motel by himself and it got spread around, and now people are cheering a kid like him." They also brought up how female idols get hated on for basically nothing, as if they aren't the same ones that are hating on them. Either way, the fact that female idols receive criticism for nonsensical things doesn't mean that people have a right to bash Seunghan so harshly, especially since his privacy was violated, with the leaker involving his friendships and relationships in something they have nothing to do with. Whatever Seunghan chooses to do, we hope that he's happy with his decision, because this is what he deserves after all he has been through since last year. Who would have guessed that HYBE would actually end up proving that most of their accusations against Min Heejin were correct and founded? That's at least according to the latest report on Min Heejin's leaked messages. If you have been following the case, you would know that as of May 27th, the Seoul Central District Court has yet to reach a verdict in the legal dispute between HYBE and Adore. The court stated it would request additional evidence from both parties and that they aim to reach a decision before May 31st. However, ahead of this though, TV Daily reported on alleged text messages exchanged between Min Heejin and her executives in which they're seen making plans to leave HYBE. Allegedly, in a conversation dated back to February, Min and Adore's Vice President Lee can be seen discussing the necessity of executing their plan before BTS's return from military service. VP Lee can be seen telling Min Heejin that within a year, HYBE's multi-label system, the company's obsession with expanding in the West, and their delusions of becoming an IT company would go down the drain. This would make things difficult for the parent company, which, according to them, would lead to their freedom. Then Min tells Lee that they can use the media to their advantage, which leads to the VP telling her that they can use the fact that HYBE unfairly ousted Min Heejin to make people lose their trust in the company and damage them severely. They both came up with a strategy to publicly criticize HYBE, as Min saw it as the ideal moment for Adore to gain independence. documents. The two exchanged names of media outlets and journalists, planning to use them before Min proposed arranging a meeting with an unnamed media outlet and a reporter introduced by one of their analysts. The reporter in question had already written a bunch of critical articles about Hybe, which they believed would benefit their cause. Lee told her, "First, we'll become close to them, and like drizzle falling on clothes, we'll quietly build a personal network of accountants, competitors, investors, outside directors, investment firms, and media outlets." The texts indicate that Min proposed handling the matter personally and avoiding mentioning Ador's name. Lee then states that their goal for February is to make external alliances while enhancing Ador's internal capacities. During another conversation that allegedly took place in March, Lee and Min discussed the possibility of negotiating a buyout for NewJeans. Essentially, Min was planning to negotiate with Hybe to make NewJeans independent from the company as per the supposed messages. Lee calculated the costs of taking NewJeans with them, which were too much for them considering that they would have to leave their albums and endorsements behind due to the fact that they were tied to Ador. He also suggested using the termination costs as leverage in negotiations. He proposed that regardless of Hybe's asking price, they should argue that it's too high considering the termination costs, the expenses of new contracts, and Hybe's initial investment. By doing so, they aimed to reach a compromise at a price of 800 billion Korean won. Min responded by pointing out that Hybe would also consider future earnings when valuing the company. She expressed relief that Bong Si-hyuk and Park Ji-won have had bad luck, implying this may work in their favor. However, she appeared to be doubtful that Hybe would settle for 800 billion Korean won given their history of paying more for companies with less. Lee texted the manager of a private equity fund to ask about an investment firm, and they were seen discussing whether they have enough money to make a deal with Ador. Lee then texted Min to inform her about everything, mentioning that an investment fund is keen on being more involved in Korean entertainment. He explained that it might be easier to secure a financial investor rather than a strategic one, which would offer more freedom. He suggested finding a financial investor who would agree with their strategy and then leave Hybe before growing the company further or going public, but Min seemed skeptical of the whole thing. Lastly, just as Hybe had said, on March 30th, Min Hee-jin proposed that they use the parents of the members as whistleblowers. The employee then suggested publishing an article before filing a complaint since they thought that it might be negative press for them if the family members got involved. The employee writes, "From our perspective, it might be better to control the public opinion more first and then make it a public issue." However, Min told them that it would go against their contract with Hybe if it were to come out that Ador was the one who leaked the article. Min told the employee that she believed that regardless of whether an investigation occurs, once news of Hybe's album-pushing tactic and chart manipulation spreads, it will create chaos. Therefore, according to her, it'd be better to make their plans public sooner rather than later. Of course, their plans didn't go as expected due to Hybe launching an audit on them. To some people, these conversations weren't surprising in the slightest. According to them, seeing how Min Hee-jin and Ador handled the situation, it was obvious that the whole thing was rushed so they could get everything done before BTS members started coming back from the military. Korean netizens, however, believe that this is all part of Hybe's media play, with some even saying that Lee was the main culprit in all of this, not Min Hee-jin, as she herself was apparently skeptical in the leaked messages. However, even though Hybe have used the media to their advantage, this hardly seems like a case of media play. All we can do is wait for Ador to release a statement or the final verdict on May 31st. Until then, it's difficult to really pick a side.